I move for no man, no man, no man, no man, no man.
We're calling a draw. Just a flesh wound, 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 just a flesh wound.
What is love? Gary, don't hurt me. Oh, this is beautiful.
You see this beautiful.
Look at that fucking mug. What do you call that? Is that like a rat cut?
It was supposed to be a mullet, but it's kind of just like party everywhere instead of just party in the back.
That's the name of the cut right there. Party everywhere.
It's like slightly business on the sides, I guess. But
you're ready for anything in that, though.
What's that?
You're ready for anything.
Oh yeah.
I like it though. It looks like one of those Viking cuts. It looks like you're about to pillage a village and ravish all the maidens.
Rape and pillage.
All right, is my sound quality any better or no?
Well, I mean, you sound like you're underwater, but we'll power through it. Don't you have one of those like hands-free like Chris?
No.
What kind of phone do you have?
Google Pixel 4 XL.
I don't know what that is. That's a thing.
Did you buy an XL trying to compensate for something?
Hey, listen, man. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. You gotta upgrade to the XL, man.
So, guys, Memorial Day weekend. How was it? Anything epic going on?
I came back to New York, so I'm in New York now, and my home, like my family home, we barbecue like complete savages. So that's what we did. We barbecued. We did one of our session barbecues where we're literally queuing all day long.
So, Chris, when the fuck are we invited? That's what I want to know. Talk about these fucking awesome barbecues all the time.
I would love
Gary is like
have you guys over to have the experience, because it's not just a barbecue. Like you guys, like when people say barbecue, like I never think that they're the same thing that I do. Like
it's an event.
My family do. Yeah, it's an event, and we do it all day long, and we portion out throughout the day. So like we'll have like everyone kind of sleeps late. It'll be like a Sunday usually when we do it. Everybody kind of sleep late, wake up, very light morning breakfast. If anything, my mother will have like toast and butter and jam, whatever, have some fruit, whatever. Then we have like a light lunch where we'll have like prosciutto, salami, again, more toast, more bread, a lot of very salty pickles, peppers, spicy things like that. And we'll just kind of pick at that. We do everything with coal. There's no gas. I'll cook the coals, get the fire going. As my brother prepares the meat, you basically just salting and olive oil and getting the herbs ready and we do it in layers of chicken and sausages first. We have that kind of like to get ourselves going.
First the bullshit courses.
Not even bullshit, because we're drunk.
Chicken.
We start drinking like at 11 a.m. and like we're drunk by the time it's time to start the barbecue. And then you eat sausages and chicken, especially the sausages where you got a lot of fat and the bread and the oil, and then you're kind of like recharged, you're like ready to go again. So like, all right, I'm not drunk anymore, now I can really eat and drink. And then we drink more throughout the day.
It's a process.
You have a system.
You have a real system for this.
System. And then we end up with steak. At the end of the night, we have steak, and then we usually sit around the fire and smoke cigars or go for a walk or something like that. And it's cool. Fun time. It was really good to be home and see everybody.
Gary, I understand Chris not inviting me because I'm like in the DR, but you're like just literally down the street.
I know. It's all right. I'll earn Chris's respect one day.
I gotta
knock somebody out first, I think.
100%.
I think the moment I knock somebody out, he'll finally invite you to a bar.
This guy, he deserves a steak. Let's get a little steak. A little skirt steak with Gary's name on it.
100%. That's what's going on. So Gary, Jeff gave you this haircut?
He did. Jeff has been cutting a lot of people's hair recently.
Yeah, is that what he's doing on the side now? That's
the
his side gig?
The only reason because last time I asked to get a mullet, it was before ADCC, and I went to some random barber in New York, and they totally fucked it up, but we didn't even come close to being a mullet. So I was like hesitant to not have a professional do it, but they're taking so long to let businesses open that I was like, fuck, like maybe I'll let Jeff do it. And then what sealed the deal was Jeff actually shaved a mullet into his own head. And I was like, oh, wow, that actually looks like a mullet. I was like, okay, I guess you can do it. I mean, if you can do it in your own head, I'm sure you could do it on somebody else.
So he had to. So Jeff was looking for validation so bad that he made himself a mullet haircut just to validate himself to you.
Yes.
He's like, Master Garry, look at me.
It worked perfectly.
Garry, what's going on with Jersey? Because Long Island's apparently opening up tomorrow. Like phase 1 is starting immediately.
So I'm not 100% certain how everything's gonna go. I heard that the one good thing I heard is that sports teams are opening up. So all professional sports teams and stuff like that are like allowed to practice. So
that's a cool distinction.
Yeah, that kind of gives me like a vote of confidence on the whole thing, because I kind of feel like once you do that, like, how are you gonna like prevent everything from being open? You know, like you're gonna say that like professional sports teams are allowed to practice, but like you're not gonna be able to open like, you know, your normal shit. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. So. I
mean, technically, you are a professional sports team. You have professional fighters from your gym, and that's your training facility. So you have a good argument for your own training at the very least.
Yeah. Well, Tom sent me something today saying that like, the what's it called? The executive order is exempt from like pro athletes. So like theoretically, I could say every student in my gym is a training partner, and then like I could run the gym or whatever. That doesn't stop the rest of like my gym problems, because the guy that I was leasing from is still out. So I still have to find a new place. I have to explore that, because it's like a new thing. Like this is just something recent that somebody sent to me, so I really don't know exactly how it works. But I do have a little bit more confidence now that things are going to kind of start going in the right direction, which is cool.
I actually had my first training session back in New York, like with my real coach, and like the boxers, we don't have teams as much as like how you guys do. Like you have like training partners that you train with all the time. We don't have that as much, although in my gym situation, I do more than most boxing gyms. So I got to actually train with my people today. We went to a park. We did outside in New York, because actually the weather was fantastic up in the Northeast today. That was good, man. And it's funny. I'm sure, Garry, you can attest to this too. Training with other people makes such a difference in terms of your output and pushing yourself. I don't know. It's not even competitive. I'm not talking about competitiveness. Like I'm talking about just like having other people around, not doing it on your own. I mean,
there's a certain energy.
God damn, the calorie load. Yeah, exactly. There was a very distinct, palpable energy at the park today. Not in that I missed thoroughly. And I'm feeling great about that aspect of it.
I think working in groups, as far as a lot of things are concerned, is a super beneficial thing. Like I think that there's very few people in this world that really have the genuine drive and motivation and discipline to just wake up every day and go, like, let's say, go to the gym, just for themselves. Yeah. Like, they don't have any, like, they're not part of jiu-jitsu. They're not part of a boxing gym. They're part of nothing, and they just go and they work out, and they don't have like a group of people. That's hard for most people, I think. I think most people would benefit from being part of some sort of group exercise program. I think that's like a really big thing, to have the support and general, like a bunch of people around you headed towards similar goals, really helps drive you to like want to show up, want to stay consistent. Mm-hmm. Like the days that you're kind of feeling not motivated, that
you got people relying on you.
Yeah, people are relying on you. That might be one more reason to show up when you don't want to show up. And not just that, like it's an interesting thing with jiu-jitsu. It really depends. I don't know if it's the same thing in your sport too, but it's just like, it's a cool social system to be a part of as well, where like you have this group of people that, do similar things as you, which you can relate to. So now you kind of feel like you have a network of people that you can rely on for other things. You know what I mean? That you can go to them with problems and things like that. It just makes you feel more connected to people overall. And there's a certain sense in which I think like exercise or combat, martial arts, whatever it is, I think leads to even more of that, because you're kind of all suffering in a way together. And I think group suffering leads to like greater interconnectivity, because you all kind of share this same like trauma experience. I don't know if I want to call it trauma, but that's, you know what I mean?
There's something there, and I agree. I think 1,000%. I think that's one of the reasons why jiu-jitsu has become such an amazing, popular activity now. I came up in martial arts. I've been in martial arts since I was 8 or 9 years old, training in Chinese Kempo and eventually into kickboxing. But yeah, 100%. The trauma involved with the situations that you're put in when you're in a dojo or a gym or whatever you want to call it. We never called mine a dojo. I don't know how you guys name, the place where you train. Yeah. It doesn't matter. But you're you're in the same place with somebody and you're spilling blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, that brings people together in terms of entering that different kind of mindset and having those different hormones and psychological factors enter the system with other people. It just inherently brings you together. And I think especially with jiu-jitsu, you're on top of each other. You're sweating in each other's mouths. I felt like that in wrestling practice. Like that. Sure. Yeah, these are my brothers to this day. My oldest friends from high school are the guys.
I tasted his nut juice when we're in North South.
Yeah.
This is my brother.
Guy's ass. Like, come on. I mean, if we got to be close at this point. Yeah, there's definitely something to speak on about that, especially in your sport and any kind of.
Yo, you were in Kempo. Did you see the Perfect Weapon movie?
Did I?
Yeah, that's why you were in Kempo, dog.
Did I? I mean, I watched that to this day. It holds up. It's badass. Good job. Good job, Frankie, bringing that up. I
told you, man.
Good ass.
Chris, do you ever get heartburn when you're at your barbecues or your events?
No, I get heartburn from alcohol, not from like meat.
Man, because I saw a lot of different sausages in that picture. You ate blood sausages as well, right?
So every time. That's one of my favorite things to eat. Morcilla, and that is the drunk cure. If you're hammered drunk, have a morcilla on a piece of bread with olive oil and parsley and garlic. You're not drunk anymore.
It's interesting. As far as you said with heartburn, I've never really had any problems with heartburn with like meat. It's been more like a lot of other shit, milk, like dairy products and things like that give me problems. But I never really, I don't know. I did have an issue with like heartburn for a while. I think it's because like I had an injury and I was taking like a decent amount of ibuprofen for a while. And it started to irritate my stomach. I got an endoscopy and everything, and they basically. That makes sense. I was a little worried about it. I thought that like it was like a real problem, and it was kind of just irritation of the stomach lining. I think they called it. I forget what they called it, but
gastroenteritis.
Yeah, maybe they didn't say it was like anything super serious. They just kind of put me on proton pump inhibitors for a little bit. Like basically like the that purple pill or whatever it is. I forget what they call it, but. Yeah, that worked fine. I got back from it. But still, even when I was having those problems, meat wasn't really the issue. It was like a lot of other shit.
Yeah, my brother had a really bad episode of GERD, gastrointestinal reflux, and it was like ruining his life. He couldn't sleep. He couldn't lay down. It was constant. Wow. Feel like it was like all the time. He's like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, they put me on whatever.
I don't know what to do, but it's always on Mondays.
Yeah,
after the barbecue, and he's like. I'm not gonna stop barbecuing, dog.
Yeah. I'm
gonna die in this bitch.
He said he's like started looking up like the side effects of the drugs that they were giving him, and what is it? Prilosec? Prilosec is one.
Yeah, I think that's one of them. Yeah.
I think Prilosec is the one. I remember him going through the side effects and being like, I don't want to be on this. He's like, Chris, what do I need to do? And I put him on a diet and caffeine, alcohol, smoking. All of those things really exacerbate it. How close you eat to when you go to sleep really affects it because of laying down. Yeah. So what happens is you have like a sphincter at the end of your esophagus that goes into your stomach. And what happens is when gastric reflux or GERD, like it happens a lot where you get kind of like an indigestion where there's gas that pushes through that sphincter the opposite way. And it spills a little bit of the acid, just a little bit of the acid up into your esophagus. And what happens is over time, it'll keep burning that tissue, which is not made to feel acid or a pH at that level. Yeah. And that can actually cause cancer. It can be a really, really big issue.
Yeah.
So we just switched up his diet. It was a lot of fruits and veggies. Meat was definitely still a part of it. But we just got away from coffee, alcohol, smoking. He was smoking at the time too, which definitely didn't help.
During Chris's diet is when his brother started having problems with cocaine.
We got him off all those other things, but then the whole coke problem happened. But he lost a ton of weight. He looked awesome. It was great.
True.
Addicted to steroids and HGH, but fucking
cocaine and steroids.
No more GERDs.
Chris's diet.
No, GERD's gone.
Yeah. No, I was trying everything, man. I was changing my diet. I was doing all kinds of stuff to try to fix it. I really think it was mostly the anti-inflammatories that did it to me, because after a little bit of time with the PPIs, I kind of got right back on track, and I was able to eat whatever. It was totally fine. But I
too.
Yeah, it could have been. It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to say for sure. It definitely could have been.
And then there's what's the bacterial infection? H. pylori. H. pylori is a big cause of ulcers, and that can be an issue too. So
I think they tested me for that, and I don't think I had it. But yeah, it's funny whenever they bring up, like, whenever I have an issue and I go to the doctor and they're like, oh well, it could be stress, and I'm like, well, yeah, I fight for a living, so there's that. I'm like, you think there might be a little bit of fucking stress involved with that? Yeah, okay. It's not really any way to mitigate that, really.
Mm-mm.
Like,
not in your world.
Have you guys heard of a series called Dave with Little Dicky?
Yes,
it's really funny.
I've been watching it. It's actually really fucking good.
It's really fucking funny.
It's good, huh? I
Dude,
just finished
so
it
good.
yesterday. It's pretty
Yeah,
dope.
man. I didn't expect it to be good. I never thought I would watch a series about a rapper and be like, oh man, this is like something that I want to watch, and this is entertaining. I figured I was going to watch some bullshit like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or something. And man, he really surprised. There's some moments of that show that, number one, are emotionally engaging. There's some moments of that show that, number two, are they just have some really fucking offbeat comedy that goes on. It's just like, it's really good. I was really surprised.
They got picked up for season 2.
Wow. That doesn't surprise me at all.
I think his comedic timing is like on point. Little Dicky.
Does he write it too? Is it his show?
That's it's his show.
Some people are just fucking talented. That's like that kid, Glover. The kid who wrote Atlanta.
Yeah. So it kind of has an Atlanta vibe. Have you guys seen Atlanta?
Which is a phenomenal. I don't know if you guys have seen that. I've watched.
And it's on the same channel, the FX channel.
Yeah, super good show.
Really good.
Really smart.
Danny Glover.
Danny Glover, exactly. Yeah, he's just so talented. He's like
Childish
an actor.
Childish
Gambino.
Dude, that guy is sick.
He's all over it. Writer, comedian. He's a stand-up comic too. Like, dude, come on, save some for the rest of us. Don't be good at everything.
And he's got a really good voice too. He sings really well.
Very talented guy.
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about Little Dicky's like rap. I don't know if I have heard any of his music. I didn't know that I heard his music.
Have you heard the song "Save That Money"? Gotta save that money. Gotta save that money.
Is his rap style like comedic? Like, it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah. So
I don't like. I'm with Gary. I've never heard of the guy.
So he says that his Trojan horse was music, but his passion is like his TV show. Yeah. So I guess he had been writing that for a while.
That's cool. The one thing that I saw on one of the episodes was he wrote a song in the episode, and I don't know if it's like a real song or not, or if it's just for the series. But in the song, he talks about eating ass, and then his girlfriend like tries to get him to eat her ass. And then he's like, wait, no, like I just, that's just what my audience loves. Like, I'm just like playing to them. And I like in that moment, like it was amazing television. Like I found it entertaining, of course, but I've had these conversations with my friends because they'll like send ass eating memes to chicks. And I know for a fact they don't eat ass. And I'm like, dude, you can't fucking do that. Like,
fucking suckers.
Like, dude, you're ruining it for the rest of us too. Like, now every time I fucking send an ass-eating meme, a chick doesn't think that I'm fucking for real, but it's fucking for real, man. You got to be about that life if you're going to be fucking sending ass-eating memes, dude. Like, or at the very least, you got to put a disclaimer. You're going to start talking about ass-eating, you better be like, oh, yeah, by the way, this is just a joke. Like, I actually am not going to put my tongue deep inside your asshole,
Can we hashtag Gary on this one? Frank, I'm gonna leave that up to you. We need to hashtag you because you are, dude. Yeah, fucking. Let's.
Yes. Gary,
You're
about
speaking too many
that life.
Too many truth bombs just got dropped.
Hashtag about that life.
Well, it's funny you talked about like his rap career being a Trojan horse for his TV show. I think my boxing career was a Trojan horse to get me here to do this podcast.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is what we've all been waiting for.
Destiny.
Exactly.
The world is waiting for it too. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Waiting for Gary's truth bombs.
Ass eating truth bombs.
ATM. And his awesome taste in movies.
We should have a movie section every episode because
dude,
I got many good and bad movies.
That one dude, the Vinny dude.
Vinny the Chin.
Vinny the Chin.
My boy, the Long Island legend.
He's like, you guys should just do reviews for movies. What the fuck is up with that guy?
He's the best. We got to get him on.
How do you know him?
I know him from the gym on Long Island. Like literally, he used to come to my gym. Like he's the Long Island legend, right? So like literally, that's who he is. Vinny the Chin. He likes to do juice. He's always jacked. He's always tan. His hair is great. He's a very aggressive personality. He likes to work out a lot.
We're gonna have him on the pod, dude. He's gonna tell us the story when he did cocaine with John Jones.
Yeah, he's that guy. So in the summer on Long Island, like Memorial Day weekend, like everyone goes to the Hamptons. Like that's like the big thing on Long Island where like all like the party guys go. Okay. So that
the Hamptons was like bougie.
Yeah, but Memorial Day weekend is trashy.
Oh,
and
okay,
that's when
that's when you guys come in.
Right, that's when Long Island rolls in deep.
Goons.
Because when you're in the Hamptons is a whole different world. Like that's like like you said, it's the bougie part of Long Island and New York. But Memorial Day weekend, that is
everything goes.
That curtain is raised, and and the Vinny the Chins make it out there. Who's this other friend? Vinny the Beak. The Beak. I've met him a bunch of times too. These guys are they're on 100 all the time. I mean, they're on cocaine, so the cocaine definitely helps. But they're on 100 all the time, and steroids. So, yeah, good guys.
Interesting mix.
So yeah, we're gonna have him on next week.
We got to get Vinny on. Vinny is he is a laugh riot and talk about
a lot of stories.
Dropping gems. That guy
lot of stories. I want to go party with him.
I don't think you should do that. I don't recommend that.
Yeah. Gary, you and me, dog.
Okay.
We like danger.
I've done it.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've done it. I'm just saying I don't recommend it.
Talking about danger, man. I almost died this weekend on Saturday.
No way. What happened?
So, I went to this beach house that a friend of mine has, and I like his
a lot of beach houses, bro. You go to a lot of really nice
well, I fucking live on an island, bro. There's like beach houses.
I don't know if you guys at home have noticed, like sometimes he'll be podcasting from other places that are not his home, and they'll always be like, oh, I'm just hanging out at my boys.
Right. During the weekends, I like to break into people's houses. You guys got me.
I don't think so. I think you just got some friends who are in high places.
I do. So his house is like on a beach, but it doesn't have sand. It has like the reefs and then the open water. So in order to access the open water, you have to like go on a reef and then jump into the water. You copy? So there's no sand. There's just like corals and water. So like kind of like a little cliff.
Yeah.
Right? So the ocean was like really, really messed up this weekend. It was like really wavy. And I had a little bit too much to drink, and my friends are like,
no.
I'm like, dude, let's jump in the
You?
Yeah. Like, let's jump in the water. And they're like, fuck no, dude. Look at the ocean. It's like it's
torrential.
It's not safe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck this. You guys are bitches. I'm going in. And
Drunk Frankie has a lot of fucking juice behind him. That guy is a different guy.
So I jump in, right? And everything's fine. I mean, the waves are pretty gnarly, but I still like manage to like float a little bit and just like swim out. And then when it comes time for me to go back into land, the ocean is crashing up against like the corals.
Coral reef, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like there's a piece of land about 500 meters away, and I don't want to swim over there. I'm like being lazy. So I swim a little bit like
500 meters is a swim. That's not
500
like
meters,
I mean,
that's not
quite a distance.
yeah,
that's not
and
that's
the
not
waves were
doggy
gnarly,
paddle.
so it's like, swimming against the waves and stuff, and I had a little bit too much to drink, so there was a slight
did you have too much to
possibility that
drink?
I might drown.
You did have too much to drink, or you didn't? I
Yeah,
don't remember if you said that or
I
not.
swear to God, I was strong, dude. I had liquid nuts.
Yes.
Oh, liquid courage. So I finally find this like piece of flat coral, and like I go on top of it, like laying flat, and I like give the thumbs up to everyone, like I made it, dude. And this fucking wave just slaps the shit out of me and like smashes me up against like all the corals, like I'm like cut up in my back,
I was gonna say,
like my leg, and like I was bleeding all over the place. And then I got it like pimp slaps me up against like hard as shit, and then brings me back into the ocean. And by then I'm like looking up and up at the sky at God, and I was praying to baby Jesus to like let me get through this one.
Like little baby Jesus.
Little baby Jesus. So everybody was following me along the coastline, like 5 people just like following me, making sure that I made it to the land.
So you had to swim the 500 meters to the.
Yes, I swam
yeah.
like I swam at a doggy paddle pace, but I made it. Dude, and when I came out, I was like bleeding all over.
Yeah, coral's sharp. That was the first thing
man.
I thought when you said corals, because I've been sliced up by coral before. It's like razors. So I was pretty sure that you got cut up.
Dude, yeah, and when the waves smash you up against that shit, like there's nothing you could do about it.
I mean, you weren't gonna die.
The sea is a bad, bad mistress.
Eyewitness News, where news comes first.
Gary, are you bored? Why are you yawning so much? Am I boring you?
Just tired.
Was my
Late at night.
ocean
It was
story
an amazing.
boring?
It was an amazing story. So I can't say it's because of the story.
Thank you, Gary. So Triple H wants Rhonda back, and he says he's ready when she is. So it seems to me that it was all a gimmick. Her like taking shots at the WWE roster and like the fans.
Yeah, they tricked me. I'm a fucking dummy. I was like, fuck those guys. She'll kick all their asses. I'm like, oh,
Rhonda,
wait.
yeah.
Damn it.
You got, dog. You got.
They got me.
So, an Asian man was attacked in Seattle by a guy who slapped, shoved, and spit on him, all out of revenge over the coronavirus. And now the cops are on a hunt. And so this dude is threatening Asian residents all over the Seattle city.
I mean, that's fair, right? Somebody's got to pay for this shit.
Mind
No,
you,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
His
China.
fucking roommate Jeff is Asian too. I love it. Yeah. Fuck those Asians, man.
Okay. It's funny. It's definitely funny. That is not okay.
No, that's not okay.
That's not okay.
That's horrible, man.
It's
Can you
funny.
imagine just you being like an Asian American having nothing? You probably don't even know any Asian languages, and you're like as American as it gets, and fucking some guy harassing the shit out of you.
Even there's a lot of Asian countries. Like, I'm not even if you're from
Yeah, it's
China.
like,
doesn't matter.
bro, I was born in Seattle. Leave me alone.
Is that what people from Seattle sound like?
I don't know, but
I was like,
that was
man,
my best shot at it.
I've been to Seattle. Frankie, we've been to Seattle together.
Yeah, we did. Oh yeah.
Seattle's
Ooh.
actually fucking cool.
Yo, dog, we went to the Seahawks facility.
training facility. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. I will say that right now. That was to see those guys train. They just won the Super Bowl, and to see that level of athlete train the way they were, I was absolutely blown away. I was like, oh shit, this is why I don't play football. Because first of all, the guys are mountains, and they'll beat me in a foot race 100 out of 100 times. These guys were so fast, so flexible, so fucking strong, jacked, ripped. I'm like, I am never talking bad about football ever again.
And
the best athletes I've ever seen.
What about like their hookups, like their amenities? Dude, these guys were like
good. They should have
everything 5 class.
Gary, they had
Five-star.
everything food-wise they wanted, like tailor-made to them. They had an RD on staff, and she was super awesome and was totally on top of everything and knew every player and what they were into and what their deal was. They had a tremendous amount of just access to whatever kind of food they wanted, but also their training facilities, everything they needed, which they 100% deserve because that sport is absolutely brutal and brings in such a tremendous money.
Garry, listen to this. They had a DJ on the field, and every time they would move along the field, he would move with a DJ table with them.
That's so weird.
Frankie, how many of those guys asked me if we got into a fight if I could beat them up or not?
A bunch of them.
Yeah, they actually sent over one representative, and they were like, we were talking about it, and like, yo, if like me and you were gonna fight, like he was like trying to like walk around it in a way that wouldn't be like too aggressive or like obnoxious. He's like, he's like, you know, I was talking with the guys like, yo, you're a fighter or whatever, you're like war champion boxer, like, but like, dude, like we're huge compared to you.
Yes.
Like, not a big guy.
The guy was like sizing Chris up. He's like, I take shits bigger than you, bro.
Yeah. And he's talking. He's like, but like if we fought, I stopped him immediately. I'm like, bro, I knock you out immediately. And he was just, he's like, really, bro? I'm like, dude, punches are different. Like it's completely different. I will knock you out. It doesn't matter how big. He's like, what if we like run at you? I'm like, punches are different, bro. It's not body to body. Like I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you in a place that like you're not used to getting hit, and that's gonna be lights out.
Chris is like, I'm from
lying.
I'm from
I am 100% lying.
Chris is like, I'm from the fucking Jersey Shore. Gronks are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, dude, we knock
they
you
call
guys
me
out.
Chris the Giant Slayer, bitch.
This guy was a mountain. I remember watching him on the field. First of all, he was 6'3", 6'4", probably 240. The guy was in full splits on the field. Full splits, doing sprints like ridiculous. I'm like, what is that? And then that's the guy that comes up and asks me if I could beat him up at a fight. I was just like, yep, knock you the fuck out immediately. And he was like, bro, I said that to them. They wouldn't believe me. I'm like, yeah, go tell them.
Garry, so these guys, when they left practice, they had like a buffet table full of different types of milkshakes and protein shakes and smoothies and stuff. When they all left and they took whatever, there could have easily been like 20 leftover drinks.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, we have the same thing at the Henzo Gracie Academy, you know, in the Blue Basement. We just, you know, we have a full buffet.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there because I was there and I couldn't even find water. So.
You ever fought in the UFC, right? You haven't fought in the UFC. You haven't fought in the UFC, right? Yet, right?
No.
I'm sure the UFC PI is like that.
I've cornered for events. I've been to the PI before. It's a pretty cool place. I don't know if I like saw everything that it had to offer, but yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And so you worked corners for UFC, Garry. You've
so
seen like the buffet table after the weigh-in.
I've been to events like to watch like pretty close up, and then I've been an actual corner like backstage on one occasion.
Okay. Yeah, so you've seen how their production is and how they kind of provide for the athletes. They really do a fucking bang up job. Yeah. I've never been around a one production. I'm sure. I mean, they're awesome. So I would imagine it's probably pretty similar and pretty extravagant as well.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Chris. We're gonna corner him once he gets to the UFC.
No, we're gonna walk him out and carry belts and flags and shit. We're not cornering. You're not cornering fucking anything.
Kick him in the
dick. You guys hear? Speaking of that, did you hear about what Mike Perry recently said?
No.
About
he just 100%. He 100% gave up on coaching. So he goes, I guess like he had some kind of conflict with his previous trainer. He released a statement saying he's only going to have his girlfriend in his corner, and he doesn't really want any coaches anymore because they just keep telling him to do things that they would never be able to do. So he's like, fuck these guys. Like, I'm done.
That's a nut job.
That's fucking awesome.
Yes.
He's a savage.
It's funny. Oddly enough, I partly agree.
Yes.
Because
agreed.
There's so many of these coaches out there that you've never fought. And you're going to say things like, hey, throw this combination. Like, dude, are you serious? You know what's in front of me? No, you don't. Because you've never had something like this in front of you. Something, because the fighter you're fighting is a fucking animal. You've never had this thing in front of you trying to kill you. Because that's what fighting is. That guy in front of you is trying to kill you.
So with that being said, does that mean that I can fill in a spot, Garry?
Exactly. That's what it means.
Yes.
I get it from a couple different perspectives. Number one, the majority of the coaches are pretty much, especially in MMA, are pretty shitty when it comes to like actually giving advice. As to like what it's like when they're actually at the gym, like teaching, maybe it's a different story. But yeah, I would say that like the majority of what I hear from the corner is not super useful information. And then the second thing I would say is that the amount that the cornering advice actually plays a role in the outcome of the fight is probably pretty small anyway, and you're paying these dudes like a shit ton of money to like show up, in their corner, at least unless you have like a really close knit group, like I'm not paying John or anything to show up to corner me, but his travel expenses, sure, but not like, not like I don't have to give him a percentage of my purse, for instance, which a lot of these guys do. They join a camp and now each guy is getting, X percent of your purse and all this kind of stuff just to yell some shit from the fucking corner that isn't going to change the fight. And even if it could, it's like complete bullshit. I kind of get where he's coming from, like I get it. Now, the guys that I bring to corner me and stuff, like I really appreciate their input, but I totally understand.
Does that mean when you go to Asia, you fly first class and then you have John in the back?
Dude, I wish.
With the plebeians.
I think I spoke about this before, but they don't pay for me to fly first class, but I have like injuries and stuff that makes it so that it's pretty tough to take a 20-hour flight and then be able to fight in a week and not suffer. So I try to pay for first class whenever I can. I have to pay for it myself personally. But there's been times where I couldn't. Like the Japan first class flight was $20,000. So I just had to be like, nope, I'm out.
So
not eating that one.
I have a question. I have a follow-up question for that, Garry. So when that did happen, that you were able to upgrade, does John ever come up to first class and ask for free wine?
No. Okay. He stays in the fucking basement of the fucking plane where he belongs.
I don't know. I just think that's something that I would do.
Frankie has definitely flown first class because he knows about the free wine. Because they keep that shit full.
I will say this, when you have the opportunity and it's like, maybe you're not flying to Asia because that's probably going to be super expensive. But whenever anybody that's listening to this has the opportunity to do it for like a couple extra $100 or something, so worth it. Like if you find an opportunity to do it for a little cost, do it.
You want to hear something
for people
funny?
Listening at home, you can argue your way into it and just kind of nudge them at the front. It works out. Even if it works out 30% of the time, that's plenty. Enough reason to try.
So you want to hear something funny? Theo and I, which is my partner for Kimera Coffee, for the listeners out there, we flew. Every time we have like a company trip, and we fly like in the back. We see the guys in first class, and we're always like, look at this fucking bougie fat fuck over here. We have a little game that we like to play where we criticize first class people. As a joke, of course. It's
funny because all first class people, we all do the same thing to you guys. We
yeah.
We look back, we're like, look at these pieces of shit.
Yeah. But what's funny is that we got an upgrade on our way back, and we were like fucking doing the same. Like, look at all these fucking hobos back there and fucking closing the curtains on them. Like, stop staring at us.
No. You can't even look up here.
Yeah, sure.
One time I paid for first class. It was on like a super shit flight. So that's why I paid for it. Like I was like, oh man, it's going to be like $100, $200 extra to pay for first class. I want to say it was something like a Spirit Airlines flight or something.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to get on the plane and I'm like looking around or whatever. And I see some dude. He's just the size of like 4 human beings and it's all in his fucking belly. And this is just an enormous human being waiting to get on the plane.
Ever sit next to ever.
And I'm just like, I'm looking at it like, oh man, it sucks to see whoever's going to sit next to that guy. I fucking get in my first class seat. And who the fuck is next to me? That guy, bro.
Oh, karma, motherfucker.
You paid to sit next to that guy.
He was probably just fucking blowing ass.
I had to get an extended seatbelt, everything, dude. Like the whole 9.
Just side fat, just flank hanging over your armchair.
Brutal, dude.
So Jimmy Fallon is taking heat for impersonating Chris Rock on a Saturday Night Live skit, which he did in blackface.
Nice.
And now it's come to bite him in the ass 20 years later.
No. Oh, come
20
on.
fucking years later.
Nope, I'm signed off on that.
Hashtag cancel culture.
Yeah, that's how they do it, bro. It's insane. The same thing with what happened to not Chris Rock, but what was the smaller guy, Kevin Hart, when he fucking made the homophobic comments or whatever it was. It was like a tweet from fucking 5 years ago, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can't host this award show."
Jimmy
If that
Fallon
shit keeps up, we're all fucked. Like
Jimmy
wait till
Fallon
they-
is like
the
literally
our
the nicest
podcast.
person ever.
Yeah,
Like,
It's
he's
gonna
probably like the
become-
nicest host ever.
it's going to become something where only people who are like just born into like no internet presence or anything like that are able to become like public like personalities, or
I think so.
everybody's
I
just
think
going
they're
to
gonna let
get
it
so
slide.
used to the idea of people getting their shit blown up that it's not going to be that meaningful anymore. Like nobody's going to care because we're all going to have so much shit on us. Like everything we do is recorded, posted, this, that, and the
And
other thing.
both
Like
ways.
we're bound to fuck up. So it's going to become much more normal, I think, to have shit like that happen.
I agree.
You don't think it's going to swing the other way?
Swing which way?
I
You
can't.
think it's just going to escalate?
Because then we're gonna have these people come into power who have no fucking life experience. Like you've never done or said anything wrong. Like it's gonna limit the pool so much. The talent is just gonna be so watered down. I think they just need to. Our president's fucking Trump.
Yes.
The guy
Well, he
has
made
said
it.
the most ridiculous. First of all, has said the most ridiculous things during his presidency. But the shit that he said before,
Yeah.
any other president ever, you'd be like, nope, he's out. No, it can never happen.
He's a good example, I think, of how to handle that sort of criticism.
Doubling
like,
down.
Like he just kind of goes
Triple.
like, all right, whatever, and then just fucking moves on. You know, everybody's
Or
spending
he
all
attacks
this
the fuck out
time
of you back.
to fucking like sit down and like, oh, I'm gonna make like several public apologies, and then I'm gonna do this and do that. Like, dude, just be like, said what I said. We're gonna fucking keep going. Like like that dude. You said it was 20 years ago. They'd be like, yeah, that was 20 years ago. Next question. Fuck off.
The only thing is that I think since he works for a big network, he feels like he has to apologize. Like if he were to be like some kind of independent person or on an independent network or doing his own thing, then
Sure.
you know
Well,
he
those
could
networks
probably
have you
double
by the
down.
nuts. Nobody
Yeah.
has Trump by the nuts. He's the fucking president of the United
He's a
States. So
fucking
he can
president.
say
He
whatever
does
the fuck
whatever the
wants.
fuck he wants.
He's a fucking savage. With him, it's like he doesn't have to apologize. He can just keep moving. Like he doesn't have that network thing that has to tell him like he's got to like say back sorry to. He's already in, and he knows that. He digs his heels in. And he's like, I'm just gonna keep saying shit and unapologetically be who I am.
Sure.
And like it or don't, you got me
guys-
here already. Apparently, you like me enough to get me here.
Yeah.
And I'm probably
But
gonna.
people have done so you say that though, but people have done differently in the past. Like, for instance, like I think there was like a past governor of New Jersey or something like that. I forget what his name was. There was a past governor of New Jersey who got caught like banging dudes, right? Like, and he had like a wife and kids and this, that, and the other thing. It's like, dude, like I don't give a fuck if you bang dudes. Like I give zero shits. Like you could have stayed in power. Why did you resign? He resigned. You know what I mean? Like I don't like. Why do you?
Like
why do
your
people feel the
sex life
necessity?
should be something different than your.
Yeah, I think a lot
some
of people kind of. Go ahead, Gary.
I was just gonna say some people feel like they have to fucking over apologize for shit like that, or like, oh man, they found this out. I have to fucking step down from power or whatever. Who cares? Just keep going.
Meanwhile, they're not gonna stop doing it either. Like, oh man, I'm so sorry you caught me, but I'm still gonna like blow this guy. I was thinking about this is actually what I was thinking about. So Gary was saying about like people like take these whole routes to apologize and write all these things out. I think about all the reporters who go at Trump and they spend a whole week trying to develop something to come at him when they have a live event, and then he finally chooses them and they're like, oh my God, I've just been spending a month bigging up all this dirt, and I'm like, what about China? And he's like, next. He just goes
Or he's like,
next
you guys are
person.
horrible. You're fake news.
Yeah, you're fake
Next.
news. Next, you? No, you're not you. You? Okay, cool. Go. Yeah.
Who
No.
let this guy in?
His
what he
ability
does.
to deal with
He's
the
like, who
media
let this
has
guy
been out of this world.
And then he compares reporters. He's like, see him? He's a wonderful reporter and asks me fair questions, not like you and your fake news.
Fucking brutal.
Gary, I got one that you're gonna like. Joe Exotic's husband Dylan Passage celebrated his 30th birthday with this guy called Bryce that's from the Netflix series Too Hot to Handle on a boat this weekend in Marina del Rey. So it seems like they had a really big old gay gangbang while Joe is in the pokey.
Hey, man. It's what Joe would have wanted.
It's a lot of storylines. A lot of storylines. Wait, which one's Dylan? Is that the guy with the no teeth who got the teeth?
No, the younger one.
It was the last one, I think. I think at the end of the series, he had like a new husband or whatever.
The guy who's literally talking to Joe every day and like is managing his social media now. That's the guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe Joe is instructing him.
I doubt that.
To do that.
I mean, Joe was literally dating multiple straight dudes prior to that. So I mean, I don't think he really gives that much of a fuck.
I think he does. I think Joe's handle on, because obviously everyone who deals with big cats is a cult leader, like every single one of them. I think Joe is a cult leader for young gay men and straight men who are not gay, but he makes them gay, makes them act gay. Yeah. He seems very territorial, just like tigers, just like big cats.
Well, I think he was okay with his previous husbands banging chicks. I think he got upset when the one decided he wanted to marry one was the only thing that he got upset about. I think that made him mad. But I think the fact that he was banging, I don't think he cared.
Yeah. I feel like Joe is in it for the stories. And just ask Dylan to go on adventures and then come back for story time.
Joe's in it for the straight guys blowing him. That's really what he's in it for.
I really got to start working on wifing up some more lesbian chicks. That's good. That's my next conquest, I think.
Get a tiger.
Lesbian.
apparently, you have a tiger. You can do anything you want with any sex or sexual orientation whatsoever.
That's true. Every single one of those people that they were interviewing had some pretty incredible powers. So I think a tiger is probably a good move.
Gary's Lesbian Chronicles.
Carol fucking.
I like it.
Yeah.
So this Monday there was a huge Memorial Day party at Lake Ozarks in Missouri, aka the Triple X Cove. You guys know what I'm talking about. So the lake was filled with boats, booze, and bitches. So it looked like any other Memorial Day, any other Memorial Day party. So when are we booking our ticket, guys?
Wait, where is this?
Lake Ozarks in Missouri.
In Missouri.
They call it. Yeah, dude. You guys haven't heard of Lake Ozark?
None of us know.
It's called the Triple X Cove.
No.
Jesus.
No. You've been watching some more obscure porn than us, dude.
No.
Is that where they film all the dancing bear stuff?
Guys, Google it after this. And
is that where the cops kill black people for being
We're
black?
gonna go over this again. We're gonna go over this again. You guys need to Google this and come back with some solid facts.
Okay.
So as I was growing up here in the island of Dominican Republic, in hopes of one day finding the promised land.
Making it to Missouri.
Making it to Lake Ozark in the Missouris.
We're told as Northerners to avoid Missouri.
I've never heard somebody so gung-ho about going to Missouri before, so it must be pretty fucking good, especially somebody from the Dominican.
Guys, okay, Google Triple X Cove.
All right.
Lake Ozark, dog. That's where it all started. That's where it all started.
Is that where my mom got pregnant? Probably.
Yeah.
Or no?
With Tom.
Yeah. Definitely met a guy with your haircut right now.
Oh, for sure. If she was in Missouri, it was definitely a dude with this haircut.
It does look good, by the way. You turn your head to the side, and I was like, oh, that's actually a good mullet. Yeah, that's good.
Not too bad.
That's good.
So, the people of Missouri are standing up for their rights to party.
So talk about Missouri. Okay.
To fucking party, and the governor partially reopened the state, but with safety guidelines, including social distancing.
Oh man! So they all had to train themselves to be able to shoot their loads more than 6 feet.
No, dude, they gave zero fucks and just fucking went at it. Nothing.
Nice. God bless America.
America.
It's Chris's fitness tips. He's got for you. He's got the little tips. He's gonna give it all to you. Just the tip. The little fitness tip. He's gonna give it all to you.
Actually, I did a YouTube video that I'm gonna post soon talking about cardio and sport specificity in terms of carryover from like resistance training and circuit training into like sport. And this is super unscientific, sort of, but it's
I feel some bro science coming on.
Yeah, it's a little bit of bro science, a little bit of bro science, a little bit of anecdotal stuff, a little bit of empirical evidence. There's some, clinical research on it too. But we talked for 2 hours this morning about this topic. It was myself, Dr. Mike Camp, and Dr. Tony Ricci, 2 guys that I've worked with for a long time. And Tony's actually my nutrition mentor, guy who taught me pretty much everything I need to know about how to deal with athletes and people, and from a nutrition standpoint. And Mike was a professional bodybuilder, wrestler in college, still super fit guy, strength coach, and a doctor of physical therapy. And his question was kind of about like cardiovascular training, circuit training, and how to kind of transition that from being in the gym to like real life. Because he's like, I do boxing stuff and I get gassed so fast, or I go like on a hike and I get gassed so quick. And I am not a proponent of the idea that like cardio ruins gains. If you want to get big, you shouldn't like run or do any kind of cardio, or the idea that cardio is walking on a treadmill slow for 2 hours. I think that the human body is an athlete. Humans are athletes. And to be an optimized human athlete, you need to do a vast variety of different exercises and training types in order to be the best version of yourself. I'm talking about distance running here and there. I'm talking about HIIT training. I'm talking about strength training. I'm talking about cardiovascular conditioning. For the most part, we are endurance-based animals. That's what separates human beings from a lot of the other things that are out there, is that we can run on our 2 legs or bipedal for a very long time. We can hunt and get deer because they can't sprint as fast. They can't sprint for as long as we can run. So we can hunt them, track them down, and eventually wear them out to beat them. Like, we are endurance athletes as human beings. And I think it's really important to understand that fact, and to be like, oh, I don't do cardio because I want to be jacked. Like, okay, cool. But you're not going to be, if you can't run, what are you? Zombie apocalypse happens, you can't run? Cool, you're going down first. Like, I'm going to be around for a while. I can run, And I think that's as dumb and as like so bro science as that sounds. I think there's something to that.
Sure.
We are meant to run. We're meant to have a gas tank. That's what separates us from a lot of animals. And if you're a big brolic diesel guy, trying to do things that human animals need to do, good luck. Like when we watch these guys fight, Thor and Eddie Hall, that's going to be horrendous. It's going to be 2 giant animals. These guys are super strong. They got no gas tanks. They're going to be slinging awful punches. I cannot imagine how the 2 of them are going to fight, and nobody's going to get injured. And I don't mean them injuring each other. I
just need a good 30 seconds. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. So
that was one of the things that came up. Like,
seconds.
how would you train that guy? I'm like, Thor. Like, how long would it take him to be like actually decent at boxing? I'm like, there's no shot. Don't try. Have him throw good punches that are precise for 30 fucking seconds. He either knocks you out or he's getting knocked out. There's no in between. They're not going to become boxers. You're not going to take a power lifter and turn them into someone who knows how to fight. I don't care how much time you give them. They've been spent 25 years lifting ridiculous amounts of weight and doing tons of drugs. You're never going to be able to.
Did you see how many flights of stairs that dude had to go up in Game of Thrones with all that armor, Chris? You obviously haven't been watching, bro. He's gonna surprise the shit out of you.
I think
there's
Eddie Hall's gonna kill him.
nothing
Eddie
you
Hall's
can
a
do.
real athlete. Eddie Hall was a swimmer. The guy is an athlete. I'm pretty sure Eddie Hall's gonna fucking kill him.
Okay, did Eddie Hall come back from the dead after getting speared in the throat? Huh?
I don't have an answer for that because I don't think he has.
He didn't, because he's not the mountain. He's going down.
Yeah.
Speaking to some serious aspects of what Chris is talking about, I think there's an element, that sports specificity thing that you were talking about before, that plays a huge role in a lot of that, because one of your friends or maybe it was a doctor or whatever, was talking about doing certain things and then getting really tired. Yeah. I really do think that it makes a huge difference what you're comfortable with. Like, you could take like the best endurance athlete in the world, probably something like a cross-country skier or something like that, and maybe like a cross-country runner, and then you put them, in a boxing match or do jiu-jitsu or whatever it is, and it's completely different. It's just a different sport. There's different things that are going on. And even if just based on pure output, even if you weren't talking about like them getting beat up or whatever, and you were just like, okay, you're going to do this series of movements that you haven't done before, you know, and you're going to continue to do those, I think you're going to have a tough time. So when it comes to like, you know, you could be awesome on the treadmill, but I don't necessarily think that guarantees you a gas tank in a boxing ring. And I think a lot of people make that mistake. Oh man, like, you know, I'll spar somebody and they'll be like, oh man, I really need to get back into shape. And it's like, I don't know if in shape is really what you're referring to. Maybe you got to get back to training. Like maybe you got to go, you know, you got to spar more, but like in terms of like you getting on a treadmill and running every day or lifting a little bit more, as to whether or not that's going to make a difference in your gas tank in a boxing match, minor compared to like what would the improvements you're going to make actually boxing or actually sparring or whatever the case may be.
That is such a tremendous point, and spoken directly from someone who's, you know, been in a ring and been and fought. So there's that psychophysiological aspect to it where it's like, if you're not comfortable doing it, what's happening at a mental and psychological level and also hormonal level in terms of what's going on in your body are an entirely different thing. If you're not used to doing something, if you're not used to dealing with the stress, like we talked about earlier, Gary, the stress of fighting every day. If you're training, you're fighting every fucking day. You're walking into the gym with that weight of, I'm walking into the gym like, oh, fuck, there's Gary. I got to go roll with that fucking gorilla. I got to roll with that iron-willed, you know, monkey hand gorilla for the next 2 hours. This sucks. Why do I do this to myself? And then you go do it. If you're not used to doing that every day, like you said, like, oh, he runs on a treadmill. Like, I've had so many people like, oh, but he's in awesome shape. He can run forever. He could fight. No, he can't.
Well,
Guarantee you he can. And he's going to get tired, too.
You're goddamn right. The mountain's a fucking psycho. 28-second knockout.
I'm betting you on this, Gary. Frank, we are going to.
Gary, send me that bet, the bet thing link.
Yeah, I said
it's called Bets Us. My
bookie.ag, baby.
Yeah.
I'm probably skewing the lines right now by talking about Eddie Hall knocking out Thor. So,
or maybe I am.
I don't think anybody believes in you.
That's just genuine honesty coming from Chris. And he's like, yeah, I don't. There's nothing. Nobody's being swayed.
We'll see.
I love you, Frank.
We'll see what happens. I'm gonna have the last laugh. Gary, we're gonna get you a microphone.
Okay.
Hands-free.
Okay.
So you can join the conversation.
Also, I'm gonna send him one of these. They're like $35.
It's got to connect to the
You can literally walk down the street and give it to him.
Dude, we're not close, man. Actually, I was pretty close today. I was in deep in Brooklyn, so I wasn't that far from him.
By the way, just went through my first bag of Kimera coffee. We got one left. I got the one that you originally sent is left.
I told you. I wasn't lying.
I did eventually get coffee. I have to say, thank you. I appreciate it.
I need New York coffee. I'm in New York now.
So you couldn't travel with your fucking Kimera. Now it's gonna get
behind. I finished the Florida one.
Okay.
Quick. I drink a lot of coffee, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. Jeff abuses it a little bit. He makes like fucking 12 cups whenever he makes coffee.
Yeah.
So
I down a French press a day for sure.
He probably he gives it to his neighbors and the people come over and just giving fucking Kimera to everybody.
I treat Kimera like gold.
No, I don't give it away. He does something. He puts the extra like in the refrigerator or something and then uses its cold brew later. I don't know.
I tell people not to buy it. I'm like, no, don't even. I'm trying to save it for myself. Like they're like, oh, how's that coffee you drink? I'm like, I don't think it's a lot.
Out of it.
So it's not. I wouldn't even try and order it. I'm trying to get more for myself.
Wants to make sure that orders don't get backed up so that he gets it.
Worst sponsored athlete ever. No.
All right. Well, this has been a good one, guys.
Yes, gentlemen. Good to see y'all.
Peace out, ladies.
I move
Bye-bye.
for no man, no man, no man, no man, no.
Record and roll.